Good morning. This is Jody Soules from Wild Birds Country Store. We're located at 783 South Main Street in Great Barrington. And I really appreciate the project that you all are doing at the school. And I would like to share with you a little bit about my love of nature. Birds have been a passion of mine since I was 10 years old and started in the Girl Scouts. As you can see, I'm not 10 years old any longer, and I've had this hobby for quite a long time. So let me talk a little bit about the birds. One of the things you're going to think about when you take your wonderful new feeders home are where you're going to place it. Depending on who you want to come to your feeder and how much protection you want to give them. Most birds need, especially in the wintertime, need to be closer to the trees. If you want cardinals, if you want birds that like to sit in trees at night, a lot of times you'll go to your pine trees, your fir trees, your juniper trees. They, as you can tell, in the wintertime keep their needles, so they give a lot of protection to the birds from the elements. So if you position your feeder 8 feet away from pine trees, rhododendron trees, any trees or shrubs or anything like that, that would be a good location to give them protection. As I said, the chickadees, the tufted titmice grab one seed, they go back to a tree branch, crack the seed open. So they're working hard, going back and forth, taking one seed. If you're in the open, you're creating a habitat that a hawk might come to. So you have to keep that in mind. Some of you might be building a cage around it. The smaller birds from our finches, our chickadees, our nuthatches can go inside the caged area and they'll be protected from the hawks. The bigger birds like the cardinals have to perch on the outside. So because they're bright colors there, the hawk might swoop down and want to get your cardinal, which is something we don't want to do. It's very important not to always neaten up and keep your yard pristine. What I mean by pristine is a lot of times it's like scrubby brush is very important because that's the habitat of a wren. A chickadee, a nuthatch, they like to be deeper into the woods. That's where they live. They'll live in a hollowed out stump of a tree. They will follow a squirrel and use one of their old knots in the tree, so they'll go in the hole in the tree. Or you can put a birdhouse on a tree with a 1 1/4 inch hole and they will go in there. And then back out, we will go to the bluebirds and the tree swallows that need to be along the side of your pasture or your openness, the most open part of your yard. And you will see bluebirds and tree swallows. When you're designing a feeder, you have to realize that you are trying to keep the birds safe, meaning safe from predators and things like that. If you put a light on it, then a predator can come to the feeding area. That's not something that we want to do. You're inviting the birds to come to your area so you can study nature. It's very important for us. It's the closest that nature will ever come to us. And you can just sit outside your window or inside your window looking out and you can see all the different kind of birds that we have. Don't put lights out there. Don't have them come at night. Most birds don't come at night because they sleep at night. But you do have predators that would come at night. You would also perchance attract bears, raccoons, possums, skunks. These are all nocturnal. A lot of us don't mind if they come and share the food at night. But for safety reasons, a lot of us don't want to bring our bigger predators like bears. So we keep our seed stored away. You have it in the house. You have it in a locked garage. You make sure that you do not have garbage outside. You never leave your open seed containers outside because it is wildlife and they're meant to be wild. A good feeder has many characteristics. One that I need to talk about is another predator, meaning he wants to come and grab the seeds, are squirrels. Squirrels can jump 4 feet up and 8 feet this way. So when you are designing your feeders, you either have to baffle underneath your pole or create some kind of mechanism that will close the seed tray down from the weight of a squirrel. Otherwise, squirrels will sit there all day and they will eat your seed. And squirrels have 9 babies twice a year, so you will have lots of squirrels at your feeder and you won't have that many birds. Squirrels are one of our biggest problems as far as feeding. So most of us, if we like squirrels, will put some seed on the ground and hopefully keep the feeders free from squirrels. Some people don't mind the squirrels, so they have a big open perching area so that the squirrels can be there along with the other birds. Squirrels will be hogs along with chipmunks. There are 3 kinds of squirrels here. There are red squirrels, there are gray squirrels, and some of us are lucky enough to have black squirrels. Raptors will visit your feeder area to get your small birds. It is nature's food chain out there. We will talk about predators out there, of which your hawks are. Your common hawks around here are your Cooper's hawk and your sharp-chin hawk and your red-tail hawk. And they will swoop down to the feeder to get the little birds. They will also come and eat chipmunks. They will eat mice around your area. I call it nature's food chain because hawks will be out during the daytime. Your owls will be out at night. One of the things that I would just like to talk about, this time you're building a feeder. Down the road, you might like to build what's called shelter. When you're dealing with birds, important things to consider are their habitat, food, water, shelter. Not all birds will nest in a house, but if you decide to have a bird house, chickadees, wrens, tufted titmice, and bluebirds all live inside a bird house. The size of the hole and the location is what matters to your birds. If you put a hole that is 1 1/4 size and you put your bird house on the side of a tree, then a chickadee or a nuthatch's going to come. If you put that birdhouse with a 1 1/2 inch hole, you put it out in the open, then you'll have a tree swallow or a bluebird, which is important for them because they cannot survive without a bluebird house. They used to nest in fields, in posts that were in the ground. Most of those posts are gone now, and that's why that habitat and a birdhouse is very important to a bluebird. You can go up to a 2 1/2 inch hole, and you can have a house for a barred owl. That's the biggest hole and bird that will live in a birdhouse in a treed area. But they like to be 15 feet high, deep in the woods. The smallest bird is a house wren or a Carolina wren, and they will go into a hole that's only 1 1/8 inch wide. They will be on the side of your house or in the thicket part of your yard. All birds will use a 1 1/2 inch hole. So if you just want to stick with one size hole, that's fine. But if you want to exclude and you have a favorite wren, make sure that his house is on the side of the garage. He loves to be around people. So use a 1 1/8 inch hole and you'll be sure to get a wren to come to your house. Cardinals, mourning doves, blue jays all like to nest in trees. So there's no house you can build that will make them come to a house. They like to use shelter. So it's important to keep a lot of trees around your house. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed building your feeders. Enjoy the birds. And if I can ever ask or answer any questions, please feel free to ask me. Again, this is Jody. Bye.